Hello, I am Amy Lawrence Grubich, the Thrive Director at Salem Covenant Church. Today I'm going to share some strategies with you for distance learning by focusing on the importance of implementing intentional breaks during your day. Many people have mixed feelings about our present reality, as back to school is just around the corner and it doesn't seem as though districts have plans to meet the needs of all their learners. That being said, many of you are probably in a situation that you didn't really expect to find yourself in, maybe even lacking confidence in your ability to teach your child. My goal is to equip you with some strategies to make your days go more smoothly. Today I want to help you understand the importance of implementing intentional breaks. They can maximize a child's effectiveness and also minimize their resistance through monitoring regulation. Let's take a deeper look. First, let's talk specifically about breaks as part of your daily routine. If you have seen the presentation on routines, this information will be a review, but it's important nevertheless. Both children and adults need breaks for many reasons. These are the top 4. First, they reset the body and the brain. Next, they provide necessary sensory input for regulation. Third, they encourage blood flow to the body and they ready the brain. Finally, they decompress and allow a person to calm down. This gives the brain a rest. After a rest, with the blood flowing and the brain aroused, it is ready to do its best work. For this reason, breaks must be an intentional part of your daily routine, especially during distance learning. This word cloud represents many of the aspects and benefits of a break. Scheduled breaks, sensory breaks, playtime, no matter what you call them, make sure you implement them. Routine breaks should be part of the routine you have each day, but they also need to be intentional. The more work or focus required of a child, the more breaks they should receive. These breaks should be a combination of movement and calming activities when implemented regularly. This will lead to increased regulation. Children need the assistance of breaks and prompting from an adult to learn self-regulation skills. All children are different, and so are their needs. It is our job to help them navigate what works best to help them stay regulated. A regulated child is an engaged child. They are calm, focused, and ready to learn, which largely improves efficiency in their work tasks. Rather than spending an hour on a task with frequent disruptions and non-compliance, resulting in a crabby, dysregulated child and probably a crabby adult too, you can give a 10-minute break and a 30-minute work cycle for the same amount of work to be done in a much more peaceful and productive way. Everybody wins. Being intentional is key because there's not enough time in the day for everything. You can incorporate break activities masked as play, which benefits the child. Here are some examples. Go for a walk, read in a beanbag chair, listen to music, or jump on the trampoline. As you can see on this slide, there are many other options, but let's break this into more manageable parts. First, we're going to talk about heavy work. Heavy work and movement are synonymous. These activities have many benefits, including helping a person organize their thoughts, calm their bodies, arouse their brain, improve attention, focus, and body awareness, as well as strengthening the body. Here are some examples, and I'm going to provide specific examples of each one. A person may benefit from the implementation of chewing opportunities if they seem overwhelmed by excessive motion, light, or sound. The chewing actually inhibits these sensory experiences because the jaw is one of the strongest muscles in the human body. It is also close in proximity to the brain and gives it direct input. To implement heavy work through chewing, I want to encourage you to think about food choices for both meals and snacks. A person can meet sensory needs through chewing and maintain a regulated state with intentional food choice consumption, including eating rice crackers, pretzels, celery, carrot sticks, gum, apple slices, dry cereal of different types, as well as nuts if there are no allergies. Additionally, for further support, there are several options for chewy fidgets available. These include necklace pendants, handheld options, pencil toppers, and bracelets. Other options include using a water bottle with a bite valve, using a curvy straw to drink thin liquids because it activates those jaw muscles, or using a wide straw to drink thick liquids like a smoothie, a shake, applesauce, or a bisque-style soup. Cutting exercises are another type of heavy work. Cutting putty or Play-Doh and cardstock or cardboard increase the feedback a child receives using scissors. Cutting curvy lines, zigzag, fringes, or shapes help improve a child's focus. Writing isn't what you think. Handwriting can often be a trigger for children because it is hard work, requiring great attention to detail and well-developed fine motor skills. But remember, this work needs to be preferred in order to gain maximum benefit, so here are some examples of some fun ideas. Children can write in sand, shaving cream, or Play-Doh. You can also encourage writing in chalk for a good sensory benefit. The rainbow on this slide is a visual for what I call rainbow writing. The child writes a word, chooses another color, and writes it again, another color, and again, and so on until they've run out of colors. It becomes a beautiful art project. Some children need squeezing, especially if they seem to crash into things and jump from surprising heights. To meet this need, incorporate hugs, a hammock or a swing, the use of putty, and squeezing oranges or lemons to make juice. Other options include a weighted blanket, a body sock, a bed sock, or fidgets for squeezing in the hand. If some of these terminologies are unfamiliar to you, I would encourage you to look them up online or connect with me, and I'd be happy to provide you with further detail. The other thing I want to say is sometimes a compression shirt can help with this squeezing effect as well. All right, pushing and pulling is another way to engage in heavy work. Take a walk and have the child push a stroller containing a stuffy or a sibling. Have them pull a wagon instead. On cold or rainy days when you can't get outside, children can push or pull a laundry basket around the house. It can include books or laundry, but try increasing the weight or adding a rope for a different twist. Finally, wall push-ups or regular push-ups can also help meet this need. Carrying is another aspect of heavy work. Allow a child to wear a backpack. You can increase the weight that they are carrying by adding a ream of paper to the bag. Just be careful that the weight is appropriate for the size of the child. Use a laundry basket. Have the child deliver laundry or anything else you can dream up. You can also have the child help with carrying groceries. Intentional work is always best because it's meaningful and allows the child to contribute to the family in a positive way. Other heavy work includes swinging, running, or jumping. The sky is really the limit. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about calming work. This work lowers the heart rate, decreases impulsivity, improves attention and focus, slows thinking to allow for a retrieval of information, and minimizes anxiety. There are many examples here and include listening to music, swinging, using putty or Play-Doh, playing with sensory bins filled with rice, beans, sand, or many other things. You can look up other options because some people online are so creative with really amazing sensory bin ideas. So if you run out of ideas, check that out. Finally, other options include putting puzzles together, building Legos, coloring, reading, or resting with a weighted lap pad or a weighted blanket. These ideas can be combined as well. For example, a child may choose to color while listening to quiet instrumental music, all while covered, snuggled under a weighted blanket. Sounds lovely, right? Because these ideas are more self-explanatory than the heavy work exercises, we're going to move on. But if you need more ideas or support with this topic, please contact me. Visual timers are another important part of this equation. You will see some examples of visual timers here on this slide. You can find very fancy and expensive visual timers with lights and sounds, but they're not necessary for most children. As long as children can see time counting down, it will work. Timers help ease transitions, increase a child's understanding of expectations, increase consistency, improve tolerance of non-preferred tasks, and increases on-task behavior. Finally, timers help build independence, and children learn to transition by themselves as the timer runs out. Make sure you have a toolbox full of preferred activities. You can keep things fresh by rotating options to keep children engaged. Additionally, you can pair verbals with visuals to encourage children in decision making. And finally, minimize the number of options you provide if a child is already dysregulated or if they become overwhelmed by the number of choices you provide. Let's go in a little bit more depth about each one of these 3 topics. All right, let's first talk about rotating options. Too many options may overwhelm a child, while too few options may lead to boredom. You know your child best, so start with what you think might work and then alter your presentation of options as needed. There is no perfect way to do this. It is also important to understand that non-preferred options may not benefit the child. Therefore, none of these options are effective, and keep your toolbox full. Visuals can seem overwhelming because it appears to be a lot of work on the front end to create all the visuals you think you may need. However, let me help you understand their benefit, and then you might understand that it's worth it. When a child is dysregulated, they may not be capable of processing your words. Therefore, using a visual can help improve understanding and contribute to improved regulation. Giving a visual allows a child to respond to a question in a nonverbal fashion, pointing to their choice, again contributing to improved regulation. Additionally, allowing visuals helps a child gain independence in making decisions. Pairing visuals with spoken word is part of the regulation process. Creating visuals can be quite simple. The images can be printed or drawn. Make sure they appropriately pair with your words. For example, if one break option is sidewalk chalk, make sure it looks like sidewalk chalk. It shouldn't be a singular piece of white chalk that a teacher would have used in the classroom. This will help eliminate confusion. Finally, minimize spoken word when providing a child with their choices. Given 2 options and a visual, you could say something like, "Do you want to choose this or this?" pointing at both options. If you provide multiple options, you could say, after presenting the visuals, "Which one of these would you like to choose?" Visuals are a great way to move a child towards regulation. If you would like more information on visuals, please check out the presentation called Go Visual. Well, I've already talked a little bit about regulating options. I want to go into more detail. If a child needs calming, then only provide them with those options. There's no reason to pair it with a heavy work activity if they simply need to calm down. If a child is overwhelmed with choices, minimize the number of options you provide. I know I've said that before, but it's so important I want to repeat it. Also, this is a super important component. If you get nothing else, I want you to hear this. If you are not in the mood to clean up after a Play-Doh break or a rice bin, then don't provide those as an option. Save them for another day when you are feeling up to it. Implementing breaks is meant to bring peace to the whole home, not just to the child. Regulating options for break choices provides the child with structure, while they still get the freedom of choice. On that note, I want to briefly address why the freedom of choice is a big deal. First, it aids with the development of decision making. Given multiple options, a child is allowed the opportunity to explore what their own body needs. Next, it encourages problem solving. The child starts to understand that their own preferences may not be very effective, and they may begin to start choosing other options that may be more beneficial to them. If not, you can prompt and guide the child in that direction through exploration. Then a child learns responsibility. As a child navigates breaks as part of a routine, they get the opportunity to return to non-preferred work as they become regulated again. In conclusion, a child learns independence. They learn to understand themselves and their bodies and their needs, and they gain the ability to take breaks as necessary, most often with less frequency, and advocating for their own needs. All right, that was a lot of information. Let's recap. Be intentional with breaks. Implement both heavy work and calming breaks. Pair them together for most effectiveness. Keep your toolbox full and rotate the options you provide. Use a timer to stay on track and go visual to help build independence. If you have specific needs or questions that were not addressed here, please connect with me. I can be reached at agrubage@salem-covenant.church. God bless you as you navigate distance learning.